In many ways, people thought that last gasp from the prosecution trying to add those lesser charges was a sign that maybe they knew their convincing of the jury had not been successful at that point. What do you think some of the key moments of the trial were? Where did the defense really win over what started as a 20-person, then down to an 18-person jury, and ultimately the 12 members that decided Kyle Rittenhouse's fate?
Well, I do believe that for the defense to have Kyle testify in his own defense, I think that that was certainly a highlight. Many legal experts would tell you that they advise against a defendant doing that in a case. So I think that that was a surprise. I think that another highlight in this was the testimony from Gage Grosskreutz. That testimony certainly became something that the defense used after the prosecution had him on the stand. So that was certainly another highlight.
I'm listening to stuff
trial.
now.
But of course, many people will remember
we knew what it was,
Kyle Rittenhouse taking the stand in his own defense. He was questioned. I think it was over 6 hours that he gave testimony to what happened that night. So that was certainly a highlight.
If anyone wants to join in, comment.
All right, Angelica, thank you very much. We'll
upload it to the stream. Let me know. Share your thoughts. You're welcome to jump on and share your thoughts.
Switch gears.
Yeah, and just to kind of reflect here on the moment of what has happened, Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty of 5 counts charged against him. Rittenhouse kind of collapsed there on the table next to his team of defense. Seemingly pretty emotional for him and also his mother, who sat 2 rows behind him. The judge, who has really been a focus throughout this trial, in his courtroom, the way he runs things, thanked the jury for their service, said that they have been attentive, said that they have been punctual, and even, thanking them for all of their service over the past 3.5 days of deliberation, and then all the testimony before that.
And they have they've been doing their due diligence. We can say that of the jury.
It's for real.
It's what they have
Shut it down. Shut it all the fuck down.
We weren't sure how much
for real.
This would go.
Shut it all the fuck down.
Asking to see a few pieces of video again as well. That was one of the key moments this
for
week.
Real.
The jury in the middle of deliberation wanted to look back at some of that video evidence. To take a closer look at what exactly happened that night.
I agree with all y'all.
For this case, Suzanne,
we knew this was what it was going to come to, but the way this has happened,
everyone has a camera in their pocket now. So much different video to parse, so many different.
And I'm watching the news feed.
Both the prosecution and the defense.
I'm watching the news feed on this that I'm playing for y'all, right? And people are literally going, "Let's go, Brandon! Let's go!" The comments are going crazy. God bless America, yo. These racists are finna come out the woodworks. I'm just being frank with y'all and preparing y'all for this shit mentally. Like, we knew that they were gonna do this, but what is y'all plans now? For real, for real.
Family members, many friends who have stood outside, been inside that courtroom. Certainly for the mother of Kyle Rittenhouse, who you could see kind of collapse in emotion there, a couple rows behind her son.
And there were a number of moments for her, certainly when her son took the stand. We remember that moment, of course, where Kyle Rittenhouse broke down, describing the first shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum.
Yep.
Wendy Rittenhouse was in tears throughout much of that testimony, having to watch her trial her son on trial for homicide. And again today, Aaron Maben, who was in the courtroom, describing her and other family members in tears as they tried to process what happened. As for Kyle Rittenhouse, he did.
It's a sad day for America, y'all.
The final not guilty charge and count was read, and then very quickly left the courtroom after that. He is a free man and left the courtroom as soon as possible.
Let's go right now to Michael Hart, a local defense attorney here in the Milwaukee area, who is going to give us insight here in just a few minutes. In the meantime, taking another live look inside the courtroom, where we are about to hear some reaction.
All of this happening in the moment, of course, and we will be here for you for all of it. This is a podium.
I'm shaking too, for real,
where attorneys are expected to speak about the decision that was just reached by the jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. The then 17-year-old, now 18-year-old, not guilty on all counts. The moment that the attorneys step to that podium, we will take that to you live.
In the meantime, let's go back to Michael Hart. Thank you so much for joining us on this very historic day.
This is historic is right. The fuck? Woo. Okay. So let's break this down real quick, right? Because yes, it's been 3 days. 3 days that we've been waiting on these deliberations to come out. you know, thinking that there might be some kind of what could they possibly have been deliberating this whole time when this was the verdict? What the fuck were they deliberating on? And the only piece of evidence they really looked at was the drone footage that really ain't show shit. What sense does that make?
And that really has been the key, I think, for both sides. We were just discussing that. So many different pieces of video, so many different angles to draw on there. Do you think there was any one in particular that really could have swayed the jury? One that gave them kind of their lead, their marching orders on what would eventually be
facts.
5 not guilty verdicts?
Well, you know, the image of Huber and the others attacking him with a skateboard, the fella flying at him to kick him in the head, right? That's pretty compelling stuff. Yeah, it all contributed, and the fact that he responded the way he did at the end of the day proved to be too much for the government to overcome in terms of the self-defense argument.
The not guilty verdicts, Kyle Rittenhouse now released from bond. How does Kyle Rittenhouse assimilate himself back into, you know, the real world, essentially, with these non-guilty verdicts?
Well, that's a fair question. I mean, Rittenhouse is the name, probably not much different from Lewinsky. He's going to have to, you know, live. People know who Kyle Rittenhouse is around the country and, for that matter, around the world.
Yep.
He'll be saddled with that, and assimilating back into the community will be a challenge. But life goes on, and hopefully he learned from the experience. It will guide him going forward in the choices and decisions he makes. Maybe he's emboldened. I don't know, but
that motherfucker is emboldened.
The first day of the rest of his life.
That motherfucker's emboldened, just like all the other racists out there that have been standing for him this whole time, saying, "Let's go, Brandon. Free Kyle," the whole 9. All these people are going to come out the woodworks, and then what are you going to do? All the different people, all the different kids that have been harassed, been called nigger, have been harassed on school buses and things all across the country. School walkouts for discrimination, and school officials are doing nothing about it. Those problems are going to escalate now, even more than they already have been. You know? This shit's crazy.
Sensing this all in the moment, and we'll be able to take a look back and evaluate things over the coming hours, days, weeks, I'm sure. But very quickly, or at least in your initial reaction to the verdict, where did the prosecution not succeed? What were they not able to prove? And were there elements of their case or witnesses they brought to the stand that you did not think were ultimately effective in swaying the jury?
But the prosecution doesn't really get to pick its witnesses. You know, the facts are the facts. I always commented from the beginning of the trial that
I want to remind y'all that Kyle Rittenhouse, check this out. Kyle Rittenhouse was able to pick from a fucking raffle who his alternates were from the jury. So in essence, he picked his own jury. I just want to point that out.
Each and every witness didn't seem to hurt the defense that much. So the prosecution brings forth the witnesses who saw and heard and observed and presented to the jury. I'm not sure that the prosecution failed. They made some minor tactical errors. Certainly there were questions about Mr. Binger's arguments to the jury, which could be second guessed. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, the facts were what was presented. And the jury found that there was a lacking of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to prove it, and that's the basis of the verdict.
That is total fucking bullshit, and we all know that. We all know that is total fucking bullshit. Skylar, I can't agree with you more. Like, this is what we're being shown, and people are literally praising this kid, literally calling him a hero. I can't even tell you how many people have in the past week on any of the Leon Block social media platforms have been standing this kid and jumping on my newsfeed saying, you know, go Kyle and this, that, and the third. So we got a taste of what was to come based off of the kind of people that were jumping on and commenting things. And I deleted everything because I'm really not for the bullshit anymore. I'm really not for it. But just so y'all are aware, it is out there. It is going on, and people are amping up. and just
I
be
have
very
great
vigilant,
faith
y'all.
in jurors, and I think that they took their time. They were deliberate. He had 5 or 6 counts to deal with, 5 counts, I guess, at the end, and a lot of evidence and testimony to get through.
Michael, I want to draw your attention to the fact Kyle Rittenhouse was charged initially with 7 counts. 2 of those dropped: the possession of a dangerous weapon, and also the charge over the emergency order violating the curfew. If those still were on the table against him, could that have made a difference? Could he have even gotten a little bit of jail time or some sort of repercussion if those were on the table? What is your sense?
A sense is maybe, but this is a homicide trial. So if those charges remained and he was convicted of the misdemeanors and he did a handful of days or a handful of months in jail, I'm not sure there would have been any greater satisfaction for the prosecution or those who felt that he should have been convicted of the homicide. This is a homicide.
Yeah.
And honestly, I question the defense's motivation in seeking the dismissal of those misdemeanor charges, thinking that if the jury was going to compromise on some conviction, at least it ought to be a misdemeanor if I'm representing Mr. Rittenhouse, rather than one of these lesser included offenses. And for their thinking, all or nothing worked out. But I did have some concerns that the jury might compromise, and since there wasn't a misdemeanor charge to compromise on, there was a real risk that perhaps they convict on one of these lesser included.
Thank you very much for that perspective.
I'm not clapping at the guy talking. I'm clapping at you, Stacey, because that is such facts right there. I just want to state this. What America learned today is that a 17-year-old male can shoot 3, killing 2, and severely injuring another, and can walk free. If he would have been a black 17-year-old male, he'd be up under the prison. I condemn white supremacy. Racism is live and well in the courtroom, and here's the non-believers' proof. Whew. Wow. You're right, James. This is completely normalized now, and we've seen it progress over the course of this year. So this is a culmination of all of that. So expect a whole new era of some shittery going on.
Expertise. Interesting to hear
I
that
just want to
it was a bit of a
keep y'all
gamble for the
mindful of
defense,
that.
but it has paid off. Kyle Rittenhouse, a free man, not guilty on all 5 of the ultimate counts that he faced. Michael Hart, a defense attorney with Hart Powell, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be checking in with you over the time being. In the meantime, we want to get to Aaron Maben, who you're seeing there, speaking with Anthony Huber's girlfriend, the late Anthony Huber, one of the 2 people shot and killed by Kyle Rittenhouse that night outside the courthouse, along with his aunt.
This is nuts. So Kyle Rittenhouse is a free man. He's a free fucking man. I expected this, and I told y'all I expected this. I don't think there's any kind of level of my anger and my grief has been going on, right? And I think for a lot of people, maybe they shut it off. Maybe a lot of people tuned it out. And that's completely understandable. Completely understand that.
And
but
there's a
it's
lot of
time to
emotions
wake
out
back
here
up.
And a lot of thoughts.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What do you want to do?
And what will happen here?
What's going on, Parker? Do me a favor and turn your camera off.
Obviously.
Phil, a quick question for you.
Bringing on a guest to the Leon Block to speak about this situation and their thoughts, and deliberate about this, and talk with you viewers about what's going on as well. Parker, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Okay.
1 second. There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Am I still on?
1 second. You're like really low.
I was trying to use the computer this time. Maybe
It's not you. I'm pretty sure it's me. This is just how it is. My I just was honestly just so flabbergasted that this happened now, because usually it's like later in the afternoon, that I was just stunned. I had the episode like ready to go, but I still had things in the back, like programs. Can you hear me okay, Parker?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. 1 second. All right, Parker.
Yep.
All right, cool, perfect. Matt, yeah, insanity is right, and it's going to get some bad shit into motion. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Parker, what are your thoughts on this?
So I literally just got home from a cleaning job. Did he get off on all charges?
Yep, he's acquitted. Yep.
I mean, so my personal thoughts are that, you know, it's no surprise to anybody that I think it's very obvious that the judge was completely one-sided on this and really pushed it to be this way. He kept evidence from being entered that would have proven to the jury that his frame of mind was, I'm going to go kill people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also a failing of the way that they I don't know if it's a way that the law is written, but the way that people are held accountable for this law or whatever, because being able to claim self-defense when you have put yourself into a deadly situation, like by committing a crime, mind you, he illegally had that gun. So he illegally has this gun, puts him into this situation, and then cries self-defense, then cries, "Oh, I feared for my life." I don't buy
Motherfucker,
that.
how the fuck did you fear for your life, motherfucker?
These people were trying to legally disarm a illegally armed teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And those actions got them killed, and he's claiming self-defense to those actions of them legally trying to unarm an illegally armed teenager.
And we see with Ahmaud Arbery, they're claiming self-defense as well, and coming up to the stand as well and crying, thinking that their white tears are going to save them. And guess what? It is. So because this situation is happening, do we not think that the McMichael people and Brian are not going to get off? Brian's actually trying to get out of this because he said he only filmed it. But you took part in it too.
I will say at least that judge is better.
The judge may be, but like the whole aura, it still has the same type of energy.
Yeah. I mean, that one is, you know, it's a lot more comparable even to the fuck, I'm losing his name now. Yeah, sorry, I'm losing a lot of names right now. But at least and you can tell this though, because what do you even really hear much about that other judge? He's actually made some good calls. I heard about just a couple really good calls that he made, but you hear about this other judge every fucking day. You should never hear about the judge in a case.
Right.
Like that's like if they're talking about a referee in a sports game, that means that the referee is doing something wrong.
Right. Yep.
He's making the wrong calls, or
that's a good point.
Completely calling for one side, and you start talking about the fact that this referee is doing that, and that should never be the focus.
Good fucking point. Matthew Noder said his case hasn't been a hard one. The case is riddled with Second Amendment, stand your ground advocates, right-wingers, and racial disparity. The judge is biased as hell and is playing fast and lost with his interpretation of law. This is not about Rittenhouse. This boy is a puppet for a movement to respond with deadly force to a particular group of people enacting their First Amendment right to peacefully assemble. The ruling in this case will have future ramifications that will be used. Then he says Travis McMichael said he didn't believe he startled a young black man when he pulled up behind him in a pickup truck. What the fuck? Trust me, if a white dude, I don't know, pulls up on me from behind, trust I'm going to feel fearful. There is not a good history of white guys in the South in pickup and black folks. Also, Mr. McMichael, you are not a fucking cop. Thank you. This privileged motherfucker acted like a cop, stalked and harassed Ahmaud days before, unlawfully detaining and murdering him. Yo, facts. See, we all on the same page here. We all on the same page.
Yeah, the other case too, that the problem with that is the jury's being stacked. But even in that case, the judge said, like, this is fucked up. I can't do anything legally about it, but this is real fucked up. So
people are messaging me like out the ass about this. I know, y'all. Just tune into this and check this out. Let's talk about this here. Don't message me in my DMs. Just bring y'all shit here, all right? Like this is, someone said on the news, on the mainstream news, that this is historic. You damn fucking right, this is historic. Now, 2 people who assaulted Rittenhouse are being charged. Are you serious? Wow. And I bet you if they're deemed anarchist or Antifa people or however they want to label it, I bet you those people will get charged and tried and do time. But this little fucker. Oh, man.
I mean, even just another basic like flaw in our justice system, quote unquote, as I see it at this point, you know, to be on a jury, you have to be completely living under a rock. You have to say you haven't even heard of this case.
Well, there are people that are. The people that watch Fox News, they are living under some kind of rock.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. You know, like people who are either lying or who like have no fucking clue what's going on in the world are on juries.
This is the way our system is. You get the people that don't know anything, and you can mold them the way that you want, really. If you're only presenting a certain amount of information, they only presented to them a certain amount of information. And yes, Leslie, they chose not to know. That is the point. Yes, anyone that's getting indoctrinated by any of these horrible right-wing media outlets, you're choosing to only soak up that information, knowing that you're damn well wrong. You choose to be hateful. You choose to be a racist. You choose to be a bigot. You chose to grab that rifle, go across state lines, being underage and knowing that it was wrong, knowing that the implications of that would not apply to you the way that they would other people. You knew all of that. You knew that you would get off when you're sitting there walking around the courthouse like it's nothing, sitting next to your judge like it's nothing, picking from a raffle for your judges, for your jury, I mean? What person that's being tried for murder is able to pick from a raffle to decide what the alternates will be for their jury? You know then when that happens, you know then that you're going to get off.
I'll tell you too, though, I listened to that explanation a few times, and what he actually does is not the most egregious part. It's the fact that when he was describing why he does it, he talked about this time that there was a jury that, like, you know, the person, one of the people who worked at the jury was picking out of the pool thing, and they ended up not having the only black juror get onto the jury because the court worker picked it out. Now, instead of saying, he said, and because the person that the juror picked out was the black.
Wow. The
that
black, yeah.
Just like that. Yep. And it's just like if I hear somebody talking about transgender issues and they say the transgenders, I'm like, I'll get off. I know that you are not saying anything in good faith after this.
Right. Exactly. Yo, like, I mean, the whole case, my jaw was dropped to the floor watching this fuckery. But I still, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe in my head, I thought there was still going to be some kind of lesser charge to some degree of something, but that he would get off for the most part. That's what I think what I was thinking. But this just proves it all, y'all. Stacey said, we thought the Proud Boys were above the law before. The judge and jury just proved it. Now watch what these so-called Proud Boys, aka the KKK, does now that they saw what side the system is on. For real. Mm-hmm. This trial spoke very clearly and loud. Fuck his clan, fuck the judge, fuck the jury, and fuck Kyle and his mom.
Yup.
For real. For real. Yes, Arden. He picked the jurors by the lottery like bingo. Check this out. I got the picture right here. Look at this. Like bingo. Like it's a lottery. Was able to decide his fate. This is what happens to young 18-year-old boys. It's not even like he's affluent, so you can't claim affluenza on this one, y'all. He's a poor white boy from a poor family. But guess what? This got national attention. It got national attention. So he got the backing of white supremacists all over. That's what this is the culmination of too.
Well, and part of the problem with this entire scenario was that the right wing was the radical right, because we need to start getting used to saying that. Yes. Because the radical right was either going to lift him up as a hero, which they're going to do now that he won, yeah, or if he had lost, then they were going to hold him up as a martyr. And
either way,
it would have just been penance, you know, and they still would have been holding him up like some fucking hero martyr.
Either way, because history in America goes by the sea of racism. Either way, it's ingrained in it, and we're forced to reckon with it. We have to, and at this point, we really need to take a good look at all of ourselves, neighbors as well, and really understand where we are, because you don't know who thinks and who feels what. Start talking to your neighbors and having talks about this kind of stuff. I'm serious. Start talking about this stuff, because you don't know who's thinking, who's supporting Kyle, and who really agrees with him and thinks that he's some kind of fucking hero. Matt says there's going to be so much bad that will follow this. KKK vigilantism will occur, and they will feel free to respond with violence to minority protesters and activists. The Ahmaud Arbery murder trial will likely follow suit, as the defense is similar. Yes, systemic racism in the justice system is alive and well. Just yesterday, James says, another 17-year-old white male let off for 2 rapes of teenage girls. Probation, no jail time. Don't expect much different in the Arbery case. It's the truth, y'all. This is the sad truth. White boys, they get off. They go free. They get a pat on the back and say that they were just having a hard time, or they were having a bad day. Isn't that what we always get, Parker? They were just having a bad day. It's fucking ridiculous. Stacy said, I've never heard of a killer being able. Yes, I can't even. I don't understand this either. This had my jaw dropped to the floor for a couple of days. I've never heard of a killer being able to stand, and I got the picture here too, stand behind a judge. And watch the evidence, let alone with no restraints. What the fuck is that, you ask? White fucking privilege. If he would have been a black young man, he would have never been anywhere near the judge, let alone be out of restraints at any point in the courtroom. And this is what I was saying the whole time. You would never see this image anywhere else in America if it was any other ethnicity. This is unheard of. But in this kind of high profile case, in this climate right now, and what is going on, makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. But look at that. Look at those smug, racist ass faces.
This is racism alive and well, 2021, y'all. Take a good look at it. Oh, yeah, such a bright future, right, Leslie? He's got such a bright future ahead of him. He already killed 2 people and injured 2 more, but he's got such a bright future. We need to keep him safe. James says, one bad day is the catchphrase of the Joker. How is it a defense? Were you going to say something, Parker?
Oh, I was going to say about how the optics of this feeds to the jury's decision as well.
Yes.
The judge treating him like this, like, you know, oh, just some harmless kid. Yeah, come watch the evidence above my shoulder like you're my fucking nephew.
Mm-hmm. Yo. I'm sorry if I come off like I'm laughing, but I'm not surprised. I'm not. I'm really not. I think I don't know, like the way that this unfolded is really interesting. Oh shit, okay. So Mercado Media is live right now. Someone just sent me footage. So I'm gonna skip over there and let's hear, because they're probably outside protesting and we need to get some life right now. I don't wanna flood y'all with any more of the verdict in that kind of sense. I really want to let y'all hear some energy, you know, because it's important that we are reminded that we need to stick together. We need to stand together and get our boots on the motherfucking ground. It looks like there's a bunch of people outside the courthouse standing together. The service is a little spotty, but we can continue to talk throughout.
Well, if this is a situation where this judge could be held accountable at all, like this is one of those times when I'm like, oh, okay, so now is when I find out exactly how the system works and how fucked up it is, because like you feel like, oh, there's got to be accountability for that though, right? Like we're not totally just on the honor system or something about like some of the highest courts in the world, are we?
For real. Yo. I don't want to say this is a sad day for America, because we already knew this shit was sad, right? Like this whole court case and the Ahmaud Arbery case, the Michael Bryan case, we're going to get that straight. It's not the Ahmaud Arbery case. Has been sad, right? Since last year when George Floyd was executed, was lynched, we knew that this was sad, but this truly is a historic day in America, because this is the day that we are shown without unequivocally what America is, what place racism holds within the fabric of American society. Yo, for real, Matthew, for real. That judge was the defense attorney. Couldn't have said that any better. He was no judge. First of all, he was acting like a little child. Did you see the picture of him reading a cookie magazine? I don't have it no more, but he was sitting there reading a cookie magazine like he really was not taking this serious. And that speaks volumes too. Yes, James, yes. There are judges like him, sadly, all across the country. And so what can we do? Speaking of, what we can do is turn our eye from the mainstream media and what they're shoving down our throats to distract us, and turn our eye locally to the judges in our counties, the judges in our local municipalities, and check them. Say, are we getting fed the same bullshit that this judge that we're seeing unfolding on TV? Is this the same stuff that's happening in the courtroom behind the street, behind the next block over from me? Is that what Black and brown people are facing in my city, in my county, in my municipality? Because if so, that judge that I'm paying for needs to get the fuck out, because I don't want that happening anymore. Let this be a wake-up call to you all. Yes, Leslie. In Pennsylvania, you could take the class. You can become a judge. You can become a magisterial district judge. What's that, Parker?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, you can actually be a magisterial district judge. Any of us can. And all it takes is like passing a test. And yes, and it's free. Damn. It's so sad that they must put jammers outside of the building.
See, that's the problem with America. What is? They want us as citizens.
So I was taking the time to look up this fact.
Yes.
Donald Trump nominated 274 individuals to federal judgeships. Trump made 245 judicial appointments.
Wow. What the fuck? So our system at the highest levels are flooded with not right-wingers, but probably just misinformed, ignorant quacks, which is worse than right-wingers.
There's this chart that you can look at on Pew Research, and it shows the judgeships that are the appeals court judges that were appointed, and the district court judges in like a somewhat separated total, and then also the total. It's a good chart to reference, but you can see in Donald Trump's 4 years that he has almost as much as the current or the former 8-year presidents before him.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised by that one. Wow. Yo, so there's a lot of right wingers outside of this courthouse too. So the past few days, while people have been waiting for the verdict, there's been a lot of interesting discussions happening between right wingers and people in support of like Rosenbaum and shit. And what's sad to hear is how indoctrinated these people are by the Trumpist mindset and attitude, and are literally justifying why Kyle Rittenhouse was right in doing what he did from their perspective. And it's really sad to hear, really disturbing to hear how misinformed they truly are and how biased they truly are. It's sad. Stacey said the courtroom puts weed dealers in prison for years, but you can be a white person and shoot and kill people in the street and walk free. This is the country we live in. Fuck the system. I'm so angry. My whole body is shaking. Stacey, I'm sending you some light. Seriously, like, we all got to be here for each other. But I feel you, yo. I feel you on that. Like, I feel you. I'm sitting here drinking some coffee. I really should be drinking some tea. I need to smoke a motherfucking blunt. Like, for real, on some real shit. Like, we all just need tonight to just take a deep breath, calm down, and figure out how we're gonna organize if we haven't already, because a lot of people have been, because we knew this was coming. So tomorrow's gonna be a brand new day, and we're still waiting for the verdict for the McMichael Bryan trial. And let's not forget, y'all, the Potter trial is coming up, and that will be televised too, aka the cop who executed Dante Wright back in April. That trial is coming up, and it will be televised. Keep that in mind. Yeah, without a doubt, yo.
So, yep. And on that conservative principle note, I just wanted to add that don't forget that it's really these radical right fascists, because there was Daniel Baker, an anti-fascist activist. He posted something about going to protect the Capitol, and he's gotten more time than just about any of the insurrectionists. He's got 44 months in federal prison for social media posts that called for armed defense.
Is that the black guy with the bald head, the army dude?
They don't mention his race. I don't see a picture here. Nope, he's a white dude. Looks like my friend Matt a little bit. Yep. He was convicted at a trial earlier this year on 2 counts of transmitting a communication in interstate commerce containing a threat to kidnap or injure another person. The threat of kidnapping charge stemmed from a feverish public Facebook post in which Baker put out a general call for anti-racists and anti-fascists to encircle the state capitol should far-right groups attack it, or on or around inauguration.
I do remember, like, I think it was a month or two ago, there was like 3 different attacks on the Capitol within a short amount of time, and like politicians just kind of dismissed it as nothing. I do remember that, and it kind of just like swept it under the rug, but it did make mainstream media very briefly. Interestingly enough, why is it like very briefly, but this whole court case is here for the whole world to see and sensationalized, when here it is, he just gets off anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and just to note, in Baker's trial, they did allow other social media posts in as evidence that prosecutors pointed to as evidence in trial, included memes featuring Homer Simpson, Baby Yoda, and a picture of a kangaroo.
Wow. But of course, that wasn't a high-profile case, and that they probably had a better judge. But why does this high-profile case get such a douchebaggy fucking judge? That's my question. Like, who gave this judge this motherfucking case? It's a travesty.
Yep.
I really would like to know. I'm going to start looking around to see what the other countries around the world are saying about this. I would be really interested to see what other countries think about it. What does our neighbors to the north and south feel about this, especially Canada? I'm really curious.
Yeah, should look into it, because I personally don't know.
All these people raise, y'all don't even raise that much for cancer research.
For real.
Are you fucking for real? Like, seriously, come on now. Like, we still don't even gotta. Because it was very interesting. I agree with a lot of what she said, to be honest with you. I agree with the fact that we have the right.
Damn, Mercado Media just is. They have really bad service, and it sucks because there's been a lot of different people that have been up there and said a lot of really good things. And there's people from both sides of the aisle. There was some confrontations that happened, but overall, there's been a lot of information being spewed, whether it's misinformation or actual true knowledge. It's nice to have both on a platform to be displayed so that people can understand where average Americans' minds lay, so that there's an opportunity for people on either side to learn something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We need more of that. We need more of this. Stacy said, I just can't with this trial. I watched him in action that night. What? Girl, was you was hold up, girl, you was in Kenosha that day? I watched him in action that night, blow a hole through a man and kill him in the next millisecond, shoot again, and blow another man's arm almost completely off. I will never be okay with this verdict. I will never be okay with this system and the white supremacy that lives deep in it. Yeah, I won't be okay with it either. I won't. And I'm not going to stop until something changes. I think we all have a God-given duty and a God-given gift to add our collective energy to the pot to change the world. We just have to figure out what that tool is that we have within inside us, but we each have something to offer. Whether it's just some prayers, I don't care, something, but just be open and aware to the travesty of this situation, what has taken place today. Soak it in, soak it up, let it marinate, and go talk to your neighbors. That's what we need to have happen. Conversations of understanding, conversations of accountability, checking these motherfuckers left and right. Because guess what? They're going to come for you. They gonna come for you with guns. Real shit. I'm just being real. Prepare yourself mentally, especially. For real, yo. It's beyond a sad day in America. It's a historic day in America, y'all.
Well, just so you know, Rebecca had sent her love before when I told her that I was going to be speaking with you. And since then has sent a message asking if you would want to, if you would be interested in writing an essay on your feelings to add to something that we would be posting.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You already know.
And then too, just to keep going off on the unfair justice system, I'm thinking about the case of there was a black woman who was out on a supervised release before being on probation or whatever it was, or she was on probation or something, and she went to go vote. And she couldn't vote because of her status still as like, I think it was that she was still like, she was on like a supervised release thing at first. So she wasn't on the voting thing. So they gave her a provisional ballot. Mm-hmm. And she filled out that provisional ballot and sent it in. Well, now it didn't get counted because provisional ballots only get counted if they get certified and counted. She got sent to jail for 5 years for voter fraud.
Of course.
And there's the case just recently of the guy who got his dead wife's voter thing in the mail and sent it in, and he got caught now, and he got like no time. He just gets like probation or whatever.
Ain't that a bitch? This is our two justice systems that we always infamously talk about, that no one XWXY people don't want to talk about, but we gonna talk about it. We need to talk about it. There are two justice systems. There are two systems in America, and the sooner that we reckon with this, the sooner anything of any substance can be accomplished. But until then, what can we truly substantially accomplish? And I'm being realistic. We need to talk about this. Let's continue to have these conversations, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and support and share this post. Share the link. Subscribe to the Leon Block. Subscribe to the YouTube channel actually as well. We're trying to get our viewership, our subscribers up to and over 1,000. And Monday, we will be celebrating our year anniversary. The Leon Block has been around now for a year. And if you want to support in some way or celebrate in some way, we'd appreciate a donation. We'd appreciate a share, a like, a comment. Anything to support us really means a lot. But remember, above all, I just want y'all to speak truth to power. Make sure that you're sharing information. Make sure you're having conversations with your neighbors, your loved ones, your hated ones, the people that dislike you. I mean, don't go to them, but I mean, let them know. You got an Instagram, you got a Facebook, you got a YouTube. Speak your shit. Don't be afraid to speak your mind and talk about the injustices that you see and feel and understand in the world. If you feel it, let it out. Don't keep it in. It's important. It's important for us to share this information and network and come together. There's power in numbers. And clearly, we all are feeling the same way about this shit, are we not? You know, we're clearly just as angry and just as upset about this. So let's let that energy collectively be productive and put that into something else. We can put that into really fighting to make sure that we don't have another little twit like this ever happen again, ever. We can make sure that we're holding local municipalities and judges accountable and getting all these racist old ass motherfuckers, all these old ass wrinkly ass bald ass motherfucking WXY people the fuck out of these courtrooms, because they don't deserve to have these jobs, and we pay them. We pay them to oppress us. We pay them to lock our kids up.
Don't forget we vote for many of them.
and we vote for them. No more. No more. Wake up call, people. Let this be a wake up call. So when someone asks, how you feeling today? I'm not okay. I'm not okay because a young adult, a young man, a young white terrorist is running free in America, and no one is safe. No one has been safe, but this just solidifies it. I've ranted enough for the day. Parker, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this on up?
No, you go for it.
All right. Well, I, for one, am tired. I'm tired of being sick and tired, but one thing we have to make sure that we do, no matter how tired you are, make sure you're keeping your boots firmly on the ground. Make sure that you do whatever you can to keep your grounding and your footing so that you keep a sharp mind. And that's where community comes in. Lean on your people, lean on your family that you know are there and understand and are on the same page. And if you're following this podcast and if you're reading the comments, you're likely feeling and understanding this life and processing things the same way. We're all collectively on the same page. So let's do something about it, y'all. Let's add to that pot and keep it going. Again, let this be a wake-up call. Domestic terrorism from WXY, boys and men, is alive and well, and they are being cultivated and bred to keep this going. They're trying to fight tooth and nail to hold on to their standings in this country, but we will not let them. We will not let them. Boots on the ground. That is right, Stacy. We're here to shut this shit down. We are not going anywhere. We will thrive. We will persevere. We have to. We have no choice. We do everything we can to survive every day. And we will continue to. Remember to hit that subscribe button, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the Leon Block. Make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell. Arm yourself with knowledge and have a blessed journey.
Leon.